Good day. This is the Perimeter, a daily cyber threat intelligence report for Monday, May 19th, 2025. Analysis cutoff time is 12:30 Zulu. Priority is routine. Bottom line up front. Recent cyber developments include Defendnot, a tool that disables Microsoft Defender, major zero-day exploits at Pwn2Own Berlin, and a cache timing kernel ASLR bypass. Domestically, Harbin Clinic reported a breach affecting over 210,000 patients, and NIST faces leadership gaps after multiple retirements. Congress introduced a bill to diversify DoD AI cloud vendors, affirmed support for the NSA CyberCom dual hat role, and reviewed DoD cyber posture amid leadership and workforce concerns. Internationally, the UK legal aid agency suffered a significant data breach exposing criminal records. General news. Defendnot. GitHub user Esenin published the Defendnot tool 3 days ago that uses the Windows Security Center API to tell Defender that it is a legitimate antivirus solution managing real-time protection on the device. This disables Windows Defender. The tool accomplishes this by injecting its DLL into Task Manager, a trusted and signed process. According to Bleeping Computer, quote, Microsoft Defender is currently detecting and quarantining Defendnot as a Wind32 SABSIC FLML detection, unquote. Pwn2Own. Pwn2Own Berlin 2025 completed with multiple zero-day vulnerabilities exploited in Windows 11, VMware ESXi, and Firefox. Windows 11 vulnerability was a time of check, time of use race condition, the time between when a system checks a condition and when it uses the results of that check in order to gain system level. VMware hypervisor vulnerability was an integer overflow where math operations exceeded allocated heap buffer boundaries, leading to arbitrary code execution. Firefox exploit included an integer overflow vulnerability in the JavaScript engine. This is now tracked as CVE 2025, 4919, and 4918. Kernel ASLR bypass. Ex-user Rokeb published a technical write-up on how to circumvent kernel address space layout randomization on Windows systems using a prefetch side-channel attack. The technique involves measuring the time taken to prefetch various kernel address candidates. Addresses that are already cached will respond faster, allowing the attacker to identify the actual kernel base address. This method exploits the predictable alignment of kernel base addresses and the behavior of CPU caches, effectively bypassing kernel ASLR protections without relying on traditional information leaks. New SANS ICS-OT course. SANS will introduce ICS 613 ICS-OT penetration testing and assessments from August 25th to 29th in Sandy, Utah, as an in-person offering. Domestic events and incidents. Harbin Clinic breach. Harbin Clinic, a Georgia-based healthcare provider, informed customers over the weekend that a total number of 210,140 PII and PHI records of patients were breached back in the July 2024 nationwide recovery services breach. On the Hill. Multiple NIST retirements. The Trump administration's retirement offers have led to multiple top NIST Computer Security Division personnel to retire. Matthew Skoll, Chief of CSD. Tim Hall, Head of CSD Security Testing, Validation, and Measurements Group. And David Ferriolo, Head of CSD's Secure Systems and Applications Group. Also at least 10 others according to Keith King, former White House lead communications engineer. Technology Modernization Oversight Hearing. Today, May 19th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Eastern, the House Veterans Affairs Subcommittee on Technology Modernization will hold an oversight hearing titled Improving Software Licensing Management. Witnesses include Don Carter, Executive Director for Contract and Operations Management in U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, Office of Information Technology. Carol Harris, Director, Information Technology and Cybersecurity Issues in U.S. Government Accountability Office. And Jeff Van Bemmel, Executive Director of End User Operations, U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, Office of Information Technology. Protecting AI and Cloud Competition in Defense Act of 2025. A bipartisan group of U.S. senators has introduced the Protecting AI and Cloud Competition in Defense Act of 2025 to reduce market concentration in the Department of Defense's AI and cloud computing contracts. The bill mandates competitive procurement processes for vendors with significant prior contracts, encourages modular open systems and multi-cloud solutions, and aims to lower barriers for small and non-traditional contractors. It also includes provisions to safeguard government-furnished data from unauthorized use in commercial AI products, with penalties for these violations. However, it does allow for exemptions if DoD component acquisition execs determine they are necessary for national security. DoD Cyber Posture, Fiscal Year 2026 Review. The House Armed Services Cyber IT and Innovation City Subcommittee held a hearing on Friday to review the DoD's cyber posture. The congressional hearing emphasized bipartisan concerns over leadership instability, particularly the dismissal of General Nakasone and its impact on Cyber Command's strategic direction and morale. Officials reported over 6,000 cyber operations last year, while highlighting major challenges in talent recruitment, workforce retention, and integration with other military branches. Lawmakers stressed the urgency of enhancing cyber readiness through improved leadership, strategic workforce planning, and incorporation of emerging technologies to counter growing threats from adversaries like China and Russia. Pushback to splitting NSA US CyberCom head. Members of Congress on Friday reaffirmed their bipartisan commitment to maintaining the, quote, dual hat leadership structure, where a single individual oversees both the National Security Agency and U.S. Cyber Command. This arrangement, established to leverage shared resources and expertise, is viewed by lawmakers as essential for rapid decision-making and effective cyber operations. Despite past discussions about separating the roles, recent hearings indicate strong legislative support for keeping the dual hat configuration intact to ensure national security and operational efficiency. Lieutenant General William J. Hartman is currently acting commander until a new appointment takes place by the Trump administration. International events and incidents. Legal aid agency breach. Legal aid agency in the UK reported a significant amount of PII, including criminal records of applicants since 2010, have been accessed and stolen. CEO Jane Harbottle, alongside the National Cybersecurity Center, decided to take the online service down in response. There are no watch list items for today. Analyst comments. We continue to see third-party breaches be an issue years after the initial compromise. Firefox is putting its best foot forward by releasing immediate public patches for the vulnerabilities found over the past week in the Berlin hackathon. It is much appreciated. Changes to CISA, NIST, NSA, US CyberCom, and even DoD cyber-related leadership continue to be in flux or at a standstill due to administration uncertainty, though this will most likely be resolved in the coming months. These leadership confirmations will most likely continue to affect the direction of focusing on national cybersecurity defense and offensive military cyber operations in concordance with AI and machine learning tools and services, since this has been an agenda point of President Trump in revamping the military. This has been the Perimeter for Monday, May 19th, 2025. God bless.